Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by Mana Traders, as well as Twitch subs and Patreon supporters just like you. My name is Evan Irwin, and get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Power Dragon.
What's up, everybody? This should be a pretty good week. I feel like things were kind of chill, but still some interesting stuff to talk about.
There's some neat stuff. The internet's Ruben Bressler.
Hey, everybody, I'm also here. Yeah, there's a surprising amount of stuff to cover this week, actually. I think we have a pretty full show.
I'm happy with that. Now, if you missed our pre-show, patrons get access to our extended version right after the show when I don't forget it, because sometimes I forget it, and I did that for a couple weeks. With that, we kick it off with our first pick. And our first pick is they released a pretty cool documentary called Igniting the Spark, a feature-length documentary now on Amazon, Apple TV, Pluto, Voodoo, Voodoo, all the other Moodoos that you can go Voodoo. And have you guys been able to see Igniting the Spark?
Not yet. It's on my list, though.
It's on mine too, but at least as far as I can tell, I dig all things, Magic the Gathering documentary, giving any sort of spotlight. Clearly there was some budget behind this, was great. Maybe Wizards themselves was behind this, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, as I understand it, this was not done by Wizards of the Coast, although they do interview a freaking ton of people from Wizards of the Coast and, associated locations. All over the multiverse, let's say. And it's a really deep, entertaining look at Magic the Gathering. It's edited in a really fun way. We've got lots of VHS archival footage.
Very cool.
We've got lots of present day interviews with people like Richard Garfield and Scaff Elias, and we've got photos of all like the old playtest cards and really fun editing style and animation. It's really well put together, and it just won an award, I believe, at Gen Con for a documentary award of some kind. And
fantastic.
Really excited for this as a way to show people who might not necessarily know what Magic is, because there's still tons of people, even in my life, who don't really understand what I do, don't really understand what the podcast is about. And so, yeah.
I think it's pretty interesting to have these types of projects out in the world for a lot of different brands. I think it's something that, let's say when we were coming up, we as teenagers or whatever, we didn't have a way to really explain to anybody what Magic was. Like, you try to tell them and you just get looked at like you have a third eye or whatever.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to have things like this. So, your mom, your grandma, cousin, whoever, you're like, oh yeah, just watch this documentary. This is what I'm doing this weekend, right? This is why I'm going to Vegas or Atlanta or whatever. Right. And it's a lot easier for them to go, oh, that's kind of interesting. That makes sense. I get to see it's a cultural thing and not just a game. And, so yeah, that can do well for brand building if it's done well. So I'm looking forward to watching it.
It's one of those things where it's kind of important to have these things that kind of sort of keep cropping up, in that, this is again sort of a family member would have heard, oh, they're into Magic the Gathering, they tap into the search or whatever, and they find a video about it, but the video is from 2018 or whatever, or 2019, and you're like, well, okay, there's one from 2018, but there's this new documentary from 2025. I'm going to watch the new thing. This is very, I think, common on YouTube, where you'll look up something and there'll be some really cool videos from 3 or 4 years ago, but there was one that was just made 2 weeks ago, and maybe it's got all of the, all of that kind of, perspective in there, as well as the insight that the first videos had or whatever. So I can definitely see, 5-10 years from now, yet another how Magic got started. Let's talk about the old days. How did it go from Y to Y and so on? Because that's good to keep that kind of culture going and that history going.
Well, one of the tough things, though, is that a lot of footage that exists is just people playing Magic, right? We have infinite amounts of that footage. But if you don't actually play the game, it just doesn't mean anything. Like, you see people celebrating and you're kind of happy for them, but you don't really know why. So it's a weird experience. And when you can approach it from this way and say, hey, here's why people care about it. These are all the different things and achievements the game has achieved. And, here's all the people. And like, okay, now it starts to make more sense to folks.
And the careers that are enabled by Magic. I think that a lot of people don't think about how you don't have to work at Wizards of the Coast to make a living through this game. It's $1 billion industry, not $1 billion company. So while, yes, the inventor of Magic and the designers of the game make a lot of money, so too do the artists. And so too do the rules managers and the event coordinators and the resellers and the warehouse operators. And, you know, there's so many jobs that are associated with Magic the Gathering as an industry that are hard to quantify in a small conversation. And so having a link to a professionally made, beautiful documentary telling the story of this game that we all love is super useful on our end. And the fact that it is apparently really well done is very useful for our brand as nerds in the Magic community.
Yeah, if anything, you know, one of the things I regret from my time with Magic, particularly my sort of early time, late 2000s, mid 2010 type stuff when I was sort of really hitting the stride and whatnot, is I wish I would have digitized all of my footage that I got from all the Pro Tours. I wish I'd uploaded everything without music, for example. There was a point in time in which Patrick Chapin was like, "Do you have my big rant at the Pro Tour without dueling banjos in the background?" And I'm just like, "I'm sorry,
really,
man.
yeah.
My hard drive that I had all that stuff died. I have some tapes in a box. I don't know exactly what's on them. You know, it might not be anything usable whatsoever. I didn't know very much about, you know, recording techniques anyway, certainly when I first got started. So like it's a whole thing, but I appreciate that at least I understand now. I've seen multiple videos now that have taken like, you know, content I've shot at those Pro Tours and been like, you know, archival footage, you know, courtesy of the Magic Show. And I'm just like, yeah, I love that shit. Like at least I could been there and promote it.
Dude, it's so
Nice.
funny you say that, because even now, you know, just doing daily content stuff on YouTube, I've had that thought of just like, how long will this stay on a external hard drive? Right. Before I have to be concerned about, like, what if I put stuff on a drive and I just tuck it away and then I go to try to plug it in 5 years or 10 years? Like, do I lose all this work? Like, it's a real concern because we don't have physical media anymore that we could save anything on. It's digital, and you hope it's good, you know, and the technology doesn't wear out.
You want to talk about biting off more than you can chew? Give me a moment, folks. It's a little bit of a slow week, but back in the day when I first started making the Magic Show sort of as we know it, and I would go to these pre-releases and whatnot, it was going great. You know what I mean? I was having a good time. And I was like, all right, so let's get a decent camera. So I spent some money. I think back in these days, the early 2000s, like $1,200 or something, which was a ton of money for the time. And so I was like, okay, I'm not only going to make these like videos for Magic, I'm going to start doing wedding videos for my buddy. So one of my good friends at work was getting married. So I decided to make his wedding video. And there was a hard drive in the camera. That was how it's holding all the data and stuff. And of course, I didn't need to take the wedding footage off before I went to another event.
Oh, no.
No. Yeah, the hard drive broke. And I had to pay like $1,000 to get all that stuff. And even when I did get all the data off, you know, it wasn't like 100% good, pristine. It was what they could find, what they could piece together.
It was buried in the yard for 15 minutes. Yeah.
It was, you know, their wedding video DVD was like clips of things I could find that the data recovery people found.
Yeah, that's
it was a whole mess. And so, you know, it sucks because, and there was a giant external hard drive I used to put in my damn luggage and take to events. And when it broke, I was like, how could this happen?
Bruh, I have a small, like, external 2 terabyte drive that's pretty small, and dude, that stays with me when I travel,
as it should.
I
was like a complete moron.
It stays in a pocket in my bag, and I'm like, I am never checking this bag. It is going with me.
Oh yeah, don't ever do what I did, children. That was really stupid. All right, let's move on out of here from the first pick to gather the townsfolk. Thanks to our sponsor, Mana Traders, the best tool to enhance your Magic Online experience. Use the code MagicMikes_VG8. That's video game 8 for 10% off your next subscription with Mana Traders. Tell them we sent you. We appreciate it. That's awesome. Moving in here to gather the townsfolk, talk about some community issues and things. And there is now a new WPN requirement that requires everyone, as far as I can know, literally everyone who has a Wizards account, you will have to you have to put where you're from, the country you're from, and your age.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of it.
So this is the KID?
KID
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So
date of birth, country.
I have no frame of reference as to what this is all about. So I need y'all to do the heavy lifting on what's happening.
We're getting more and more of these, like, show your age, show your face, show your ID, whatever, to like say that you're an adult, whatever type stuff. And it's getting a little weird, quite frankly, because if we all know the internet like we know the internet, it's not the most secure thing on the planet.
Yeah.
And hell, just recently I got some random PayPal payment because my T-Mobile account got, you know, shared or whatever cracked open years ago. And so that's happened, right? There's tons of information out there on the bad webs and whatnot. So like putting in like your photo IDs, like your driver's license stuff, uploading to websites is kind of weird. This is a step in that direction. It's not the whole direction, but people in the UK, they're getting some crazy laws that are requiring some weird stuff to be like hoops to jump through.
Not just the UK, Australia has also passed some stuff recently that has to do with the age on the internet, whatever. And we're sadly in the US also has some stuff coming through to the point that if I remember right, YouTube just posted something, I want to say in the last 2 weeks, maybe, but they're actually going to be using AI based on your behavior on YouTube to identify if they believe you're under a certain age. And then you'll get a notification that you have to verify. So I'm assuming, let's say you watch a lot of, I don't know, Minecraft videos and Skibbity Toilet, whatever. They might just be like, hey, this doesn't seem like adult behavior. And now you're trying to watch some like very serious war documentaries or whatever.
Like I have to watch our levels of Skibbity Riz if your Riz is too high.
Yeah, I don't like. I understand the need / want for this.
Yep, we get it.
I don't necessarily think that technology is able to accurately ascertain an age.
No, that's why you'd have to fill it out and you have to send a thing in and it's a whole thing.
Yeah, and I don't want AI trying to determine how old I am because I play Magic the Gathering and I LARP.
The problem I have with it is the political angle of we're
it's
putting the guise of, well, we got to protect the kids, right? So this is why we're doing it.
Yeah, how many slippery slopes have been we protecting the kids?
Yeah,
right.
But the issue isn't really a problem. Like how many people, like even people I know with kids are just like, yeah, whatever. Sometimes my kids will watch something on the internet, but I have like parental protections on or whatever, and it's fine. Right. So, okay. Like, where's this crazy epidemic of a thing happening that we have to have this 5-alarm fire, to go to this level? Like, that's my issue with it. But it's whatever. Age verification is not the hugest thing in the world, I guess.
Yeah. So moving on here, being the change you want to see in the world. The Milwaukee LGBT Community Center was losing over $900,000 in federal funding. We don't have to get into that or why. Feel free to do that on another podcast, but it's happening. And Tappy Toeclaws, we're not going to do it, sitting down. She did a fundraiser where she made over $4,000 to help raise for this community center, which is awesome and great.
Amazing.
And if anyone wants to do this in the future, obviously the larger streamers, the better and whatnot, or team up, right? Have a bunch of people do it as like a network that happens over 24 hours. But let me say, when this happens, if you would like to do this, contact the Card Kingdoms, the SCGs, the CSIs, like, the TCG players, contact them and ask for donations. These are tax write-offs. Companies are happy to throw them your way. It makes your event bigger. It makes people excited about it more. And it adds more logistics, which is kind of your issue, is that if they send in like 20 things, you got to send out 20 things, and that's a lot. But if you're looking for that type of stuff and donations, companies will work with you. I know, I did it a dozen times plus, and it's easy to do.
Yeah.
Congrats to Tappy.
And I believe today she was doing a stream because I think like Efi had said something about he was live streaming and they were still raising money and doing stuff. So
nice.
Yeah, apparently still ongoing, still getting a bunch of money. So, good job for Tappy to, like I've told people before, she's a little wild, but man, if she supports something and she's going to be loyal all the way to death. So like, if you want to get behind somebody who's going to really get behind a cause, like she's one of them.
There you go. So, there is I didn't even know this exists. Apparently browse.show exists, which is a website that creates search engines for podcasts. And they have went through every Drive to Work podcast from Mark Rosewater. And you can now search through all of his episodes. And it's funny because I now know that I've been mentioned twice on that podcast. Once when I was interviewed in February 2021, which was really cool. Unfortunately, right before the world, shut down. Or whatever.
Right.
And then in February 2015, I got, he was talking about back in the OG Invitational and getting Pro Tour invites. And I did that in 2009. And that was very cool. So that's great. And you can also, you can ask them, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, if you would like a podcast to be archived in this way. And considering we have 10 plus years of Magic news.
Yeah, why not?
Archives. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I know, it's all still there. None of it's
Not a
like
bad
cut
idea.
off. All episodes are there for all 10 freaking years. Yeah, that's the thing. So if you wanted to nominate us for this service, feel free. It's fine if you don't. It's okay.
Right.
I just thought, if nothing else, it was great that Mark Rosewater's got this treat.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I think that, the Magic Mike's is like, you don't go back and watch old episodes of the news, right? Like, I really love The Daily Show. I'm not going to go back and watch old episodes of The Daily Show.
But if The Daily Show was doing a story about somebody that they did before, it'd be super helpful if you could just type in the word so-and-so or this event or, this thing, and then you have every mention we ever had of it. Yep. That'd be really powerful. And really a lot easier to do historical-based content, because you could hear us say something dumb from 5 or 10 years ago.
Yep.
That's fun. That's always exciting.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first or the last time I've said something stupid.
No, of course.
It does. It happens to the best of us.
It does.
Yeah. But I think that's super rad. So
absolutely.
Check that out. This is really cool. All right, let's move on here to there is a Edge of Eternities synthwave playlist. This came out about a week or so ago, and it's on YouTube, and it's like an hour plus long of just like rad tunes to get you in that Edge of Eternities mood.
Sure.
Putting the link.
Yeah, the lo-fi beats to study and relax to ification of the world is wonderful. The animation that goes along with this is really cute and fun. This is Savi, I think. The background very slowly moves past and changes, just like it does for the lo-fi girl. This is great. This is very cute. I love this.
Dude, actually, on that note, we should just talk about how surprisingly well received Edge of Eternities was.
Sure.
Because I think there was a lot of like, oh, we're going to be in space and it's another Magic with hat set and, all this stuff. But even the retailers I'm talking to are like, yeah, this is sold very well. Like, some of them are struggling to get enough product from distributors. Now, some of that might be because Wizards also had to print more Final Fantasy and make sure they have enough Spider-Man. Right. So, whatever. But the fact that it's selling is pretty cool. People are excited about it.
Yeah, I feel like I've went through, and this happens every single time, y'all. Every single time. At this point, I'm used to it. I will begin to play a format limited and do really well in it. Like, I 7-0'd my first EOE draft, right? And then I'll start to do a little worse. And then I'll start to do a little worse. And I won't understand why. And then I'll just start doing something stupid. Because I'll just be like, okay, Ruben always builds 5-color decks, so let's build a Ruben deck. Absolute disaster. And it'll be a disaster. And so then all of a sudden I'm like, oh God. And so then I'll have like 0-3, and then I'll start to do a little bit better. And I'll start to do a little bit better. Then I feel like I've got a good handle on the format. And that's kind of where I'm at with the EOE, in that I took my lumps. I lost a bunch. I'm kind of back on my winning ways because I recognize what a lot of the format is about. Every spaceship is fantastic. Right. Every spaceship in color you should take and use. Yeah. And you can't just draft for the end game, because there's a lot of early game stuff that'll run over you and hurt you bad. And there's a ton of removal in the format, which I know we've said this many sets in a row now, but there's a lot of room in the format. So don't play your best stuff early, play your best stuff late, make them use their premium removal in something that they're scared of, and then drop the thing that you're really excited to play. But I've been really enjoying it regardless. Yeah.
There's a really interesting limited puzzle that's associated with this set, because there are so many non-creature spells that become creatures in the late game. And so you're playing a lot more non-creature spells in your decks, which is really interesting, but you're also wanting to play as many creatures with large powers as you can. So you've got these really interesting relationship between spaceships and creatures, and then warp also lets you have lower powers that also interacts interestingly with the early game. And so there's a lot going on in this format. It plays way different than it plays different than any limited set I've ever played.
Yeah, and I would say even for standard, a lot of the cards have shown up in a variety of lists, working a bunch of different ways, allowing some formerly kind of just okay deck types to actually have some new options. So overall, like, while we're only going to have, 8 weeks with it or whatever, being the premier set we're playing with, pretty cool. People are active, really excited about it, and kind of surprised me because I wasn't sure, but decent marks for the set.
Right, and there's still plays that are surprising me. For example, there's that white creature that exiles a non-assassin that you can warp in. Well, if you warp in something and then warp that behind it and take out the thing you just warped, when the assassin goes away, it'll come back and you got it for free. Well,
that assassin is one of the best designed Magic cards I've ever seen because it is because of the interaction you just said, because it's a faceless butcher on turn 4, but it's a blink effect for 2 mana. It's really interesting.
Yeah, super cool. Warp as a mechanic has been just one of the most interesting, dynamic, if I could put it in a word, like things have changed so drastically based on how I draw my warp cards or the way I play my warp cards. I've been really impressed, honestly. That's really, really cool. It's super cool to draft. And as much as I enjoyed Final Fantasy, I think I do like drafting EOE a little bit more. Like, I just find it a little more interesting. The spacecraft in particular and the planets, honestly, they had incredible restraint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They only made, 5 planets?
5 planets.
They made 5 planets in a space set? Like, you didn't think they made more planets?
I thought that too.
A little bit,
it leaves some meat on the bone. I like that there's a lot of meat on that bone.
Yeah, there's a ton of crazy meat on the bone, let me tell you. But yeah, super cool. And I love the playlist thing. This is very similar to back in Kaldheim. They made playlists for Kaldheim and even got some metal bands to participate and stuff.
For sure.
In spoiling cards and things, which was cool. So anything that can sort of help, just get the vibe for each set. I think that's awesome. And I wonder what they're going to do when they do the Spider-Man Magic Arena Spider-Man thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be
we'll see.
Choice.
That's a lot of Spider Hero legends that we got to go through. So it's quite a few.
Indeed. Very, very, very many. So let me get this pulled up here real fast. If we move in here to Desperate Ravings, it's time to get to the juicy stuff, shall we? The fun, juicy stuff, because we got it this week. And when someone steps in it, we're always like, no, you didn't have to do that, but they kind of did. What it looks like happened is someone used some tools they probably shouldn't. If y'all Ruben, tell us a little bit about it as I get this set up here.
Yeah, so the first one, are we talking about the UltimateGuard situation first of all?
Yes.
Okay, so Schmandrew Art, who I've had the pleasure of having dinner with at a couple of these Magic Cons, I met him for the very first time here in Los Angeles. Nice. at that. Do you remember that art installation thing that happened right when I first moved to LA? Yeah. I met him at that, and he remembered me the whole time. Anyway, he's a magic artist now. He makes tons of wonderful art.
Nice.
And unfortunately, something has occurred relatively recently where he picked up a deck box from the UltimateGuard booth and was excited because his art was on it. But then it turns out that the art was extended with AI without his permission. Yeah. So that's bad. That's not a thing that is kosher. And that has led to consternation and investigation. And so this is a developing story as it currently looks, but it's a real bad look for UltimateGuard.
Yeah, UltimateGuard did respond with a very curt, we are investigating this or whatever. But is that enough? Are we there? I hope so, because we haven't heard anything in a couple days. It was August 3rd when they responded to it. I can imagine this is one of those, someone clicked the Photoshop button to fill in that last little corner or whatever. They shouldn't have done that. And now they got caught. And now there's this awkward, what do you do with it? Like, A, I can imagine you confirm that's what happened. B, the artist is clearly over here like, man, for a couple $100, I'd have been happy to extend this as, for a few more inches, no problem. And so C, do you try to make a new version of this deck box? Because by the time, even if you were to commission the artwork to be fixed, put it back on the new deck box, get it in the production run, get it out, we're already in 2026, y'all. That stuff takes time. And so if this deck box shows up in February, no one's going to want it. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sure it's cool. I like it. It's neat. But the buzz is gone. EOE is long in the rear view by the time this thing gets officially fixed. My guess is there's going to be a lot of mea culpas, and that'd probably be the best they can do.
Yeah, you cut the artist a check, for whatever would be reasonable that you would have requested, and that's the way you make it good. The problem,
right?
And again, I don't even think it's higher ups at UltimateGuard that had the problem. It's just whoever's job that is, right? Whether it's their art director or whoever,
right?
It's kind of like what we saw with Magic, right? Where people say, oh, how did this get past Wizards? Like, well, you're working with people that you trust. You're working with artists that say, this is my artwork or whatever. And then something gets through and you're like, well, how were they supposed to know? Hell, it just happened with Pokemon a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
with their TCG Pocket or whatever.
Right. Now it is important. Sorry.
One of their bird creatures.
Yeah.
Somebody had, because they said to make the digital stuff, they have somebody send them, I guess, the outlines or the sketches, and they turn it into digital art or whatever for the game. Apparently, where the person got their design or inspiration was somebody else's artwork from like 3 years prior of the same character. They didn't know. They just said, hey, this person submitted it. I'm going to use it. And then, of course, because millions of people see it because it's Pokemon, somebody goes, hey, wait, I've seen that before. So now they do this whole thing where they're going to replace it. So they're going to have temporary art in place for like a month till they get new art commissioned and whatever. It's the whole thing. So yeah, just reach out to Andrew, pay him some money.
Yeah.
Say, hey, we screwed up.
We're
we
sorry.
reprimanded the person who did it.
Right.
Let's not let it happen again.
It's a bad mistake, but I don't identify this as a career ender.
No,
I hope not.
Or like that,
No,
I would
no.
hope not either. I would in fact hope that whoever did this would, get punished, but would not. I mean, I don't think this is firing worthy. This is pretty.
No.
This, and also there's a lot of people who've got to overlook a lot of things for this to happen. So it's not the fault of the social media people. It's not the fault of the people that work at the booth. Like they're going to handle it. They know they did wrong. They've already said this is not great.
Right.
The Harry Potter boxes that they make are a whole nother issue, but
Let's not go there this very
let's
moment.
not go there. But yeah, they had a bad week.
Right.
But to be fair to Andrew, I get how you're excited because you're one of the art. Because Wizards, any set has now like, I don't know, 600 pieces of art, 500 pieces of art, or whatever.
A ton.
So for you to be one of the ones that's selected for one of these companies to be on one of their best deck boxes and
That's
be
a big
rolled out in
thing.
front of people, and then you pick it up and go, I don't remember doing this. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be a weird feeling. Right?
It does. My guess is, at least based on the history of these things, is that the artist, I hope, will have a post of like, hey, they made it right. They've changed processes. This won't happen in the future. And then we just kind of move on because like, I don't see them making a new print run. I don't see them destroying all those boxes, and all that product. That's not going to happen. But you also don't want the artist to be forgot in the process. So, but there's more drama to be had, ladies and gentlemen. We're not done. You think we're done with the drama? We ain't done. This came out 2 months ago. 2 months ago, there was a tweet that one of the printing companies, quote unquote, one of the printing companies, which I believe was implied as a playmat printing company. We work with is going through Chapter 11, and their legal team just CC'd the entire artist community on an email thread, which was, first of all, hilarious. Learn how to use the BCC field. So it's a group chat now of all the artists who were affected by that company. 2 months later, they only owe this person, Moxius.art, about $40, which is okay. But at this point, they're like, hey, don't buy anything from Inked Gaming. Sorry, Inked Gaming. You screwed it up. Inked Gaming, not great, guys. Not a good look. If you haven't fixed it in a couple months, it's probably not going to fix any faster than that either. So
yeah, I mean, it looks like they are. Are they defunct?
They're on Chapter 11. That's restructuring / they'll just sell it all off.
Unless you can find somebody to buy you up or give you a big lump sum of cash, you keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the initial search results I have here are discussing whether their website even works anymore. Like if you can buy things from them. So so there's that.
Their site's still up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Inked Gaming's still
and
active.
Chapter 11 doesn't necessarily mean that the company's going over. Like for what, Red Lobsters went into Chapter 11 or something,
right?
So they'll still.
But they were saved by Flava Flav.
Right. They were saved by a lot of people apparently. But yeah, so you can restructure your pricing. You can change your, what your vendors are owed and what they're okay with being paid back and all this other stuff. So the company's not necessarily dead, but clearly not necessarily taking care of these artists who, like, $40 is a very, very small amount for a business. This should not have been a big deal to start with, but maybe.
But
yeah,
if you have vendors you haven't paid for your supplies, you have somebody who does your shipping or packing. If it's not done by your people, that's probably a cost. And each of the artists, I don't know. I mean, because if I remember right, they could submit art that could be then printed and they get a percentage of whatever the sales. So if you have, I don't know how many artists, let's say 200 artists, and they've all been getting 5%, 10%, whatever the whole time, you haven't been paying people. Some of those artists, if they have popular artwork, might be a couple $1,000s.
Yeah, I mean, you want, like, as I understand it was sort of a print on demand type situation where you'd order it and print it and so on. And that's cool. That stuff exists. I would just note here, because again, we are no longer officially sponsored by any large retailer or whatever. If you are a content creator and you want, or an artist who wants to make this type of product, holler at me.
Right.
I'd be happy to work with you
There you
and
go.
make this stuff happen. I know producers that can get you stuff very cheap, a hell of a lot cheaper than Ink Gaming was providing people with playmats. I know because I inquired one day.
Right.
And it yeah. So call
So
me. hit me
Also,
up,
don't
back it
bury
up.
the lead there, though. Like, hey, if you're a company that makes accessories or you're a website that sells magical cards and you would like to support a very good show that has a diverse cast
That's
and
true.
old guys that have a lot of information and knowledge on magic, we're the spot. You can park it here and
Incredible.
we'll get you in front of a lot of people.
Yeah,
All right,
that's right.
continue.
Oh, yeah.
So I do.
Podcast's been doing well. We've been improving this year, so let's go.
And we also bring fair and balanced reporting. And I do want to be fair to Inked Gaming, who I have dug up a response
Please.
in doing some of the research here. This is from 2 months ago, so this is not immediately up to date, but neither is this story. So I do want to mention that it says that they are actively producing and shipping orders every day, as reported 2 months ago, honoring refund requests, but they are in Chapter 11 (parentheses) not Chapter 7 bankruptcy,
Right.
and that restructuring is occurring, but they are not closing down. This person, whoever is responding to the Reddit comments, man, they are doing work. They're trying so hard to be kind to the community, and to give responses to the people who are asking for them.
Right.
And specifically, I wanted to read this little section. You're absolutely right that we need to do better with communication. I completely understand how difficult it is to trust a company going through what we're going through. All I can do is be transparent and follow through. If you want to cancel and get your money back, we'll handle that. If you'd rather wait, your order will ship and we'll make sure the product is right. I started Inked in my garage 12 years ago with nothing but a printer and a passion for magic. I still believe in it, even after the hardest year we've ever faced. We're grinding this out to get things back onto solid footing, not selling you, just letting you know that where we are. And I think that is the best you can ask for from a Reddit response for someone who's going through something like this.
It also looks like they've been having a tough time for a while because there's threads and comments and stuff on different sites from up to 9 months ago. So I don't know if orders just weren't going out or quality was bad, but they've had issues for a while, it seems.
Yeah, it's tough when you're in that kind of scenario of something bad happened and then something else kind of bad happened, and then like they kind of keep happening. You don't want them to. You're trying to get control of the narrative. You're trying to get a hold of the story. You're trying to get a hold of like these customers who are affected, because it doesn't take a lot for this kind of, miasma of bad feelings and stuff to start showing up on search results when people search for your company and so on and so forth. So, God bless the guy who was responding, but at the same time, we also want the artist to be made right,
For sure. Absolutely.
Of the pretty language. And we want both the language and the action. And we only got the language so far.
We all contain multitudes. And it sucks for the situation sucks just in general.
All right, let's turn the corner here to the finisher. Now,
before we get to the finisher, I have a quick splash damage I wanted to run, not the one you have written down.
Okay.
But Demiplane, which is one of the most popular, if not the most popular virtual tabletop, reported that they had 500,000 unique Daggerheart characters created since the game's release.
Wow. That's cool.
That puts it well above every other RPG in terms of characters created, including Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, and Powered by the Apocalypse, since Daggerheart's release.
It is the hot new stuff. So
it is the hot new thing, but it has continued growth since its release. So this is about 4 to 6 months worth of continued growth. They had a huge announcement, Darrington Press and Critical Role did at Gen Con this past weekend, where Brennan Lee Mulligan will be the Dungeon Master / Game Master for Campaign 4 of Critical Role. They've gotten approval for Amazon for the Mighty Nine series, as well as seasons 4 and 5 of Vox Machina. So Darrington Press / Critical Role is freaking killing it. And Daggerheart appears to be actually sustaining that growth that they started a couple of months ago.
Also, another programming note. I will be doing commentary this weekend on Arena Championship 9. So
hey, nice.
Y'all should come by and watch. It'll be on all the official Wizards channels on YouTube and Twitch.
Nice.
So me, Alias, HiUU, Corey Baumeister, Tannen Grace, all the usuals that you see on those
very
things.
Cool. Very
Say
cool.
hi to Tannen for me. He's my favorite.
I will.
Thank you.
Say hi to Corey. He's got that new
Yeah,
kid, new baby.
that's right.
Yeah. Me and Corey together, we call ourselves Team Power Bomb, which is awesome.
Sure.
Nice. All right, let's turn the corner here to the finisher. Baldur's Gate 3 turned 2 years old this week, which is kind of amazing. Just a few weeks after we finished up our year-plus long BG3 campaign. The headliner news is that since the introduction of mod support in last September, fans have uploaded over 8,500 mods and hit 265 million mod downloads, over which almost 250,000 were for the Withers Big Naturals mod, which we're not going to talk about, so we're a family-friendly show, which you can search up on your own time.
Mm-hmm.
So that got me thinking.
Go Withers, though.
If you could mod Baldur's Gate in any way, how would you mod it, Ruben?
8 spins as it should. Well, I love BG3, but one thing I always wanted was better inventory management, and specifically a search option.
Oh,
For those of you who watched our adventure, you know that I was constantly moving stuff in and out of bags and chests and boxes and whatnot. And of course, if they brought on search functionality, my mod would of course be called Search and Deploy.
nice. There's a, like, if you were to go back and watch our entire BG3 run, I would say there's a good half hour of nothing but Ruben just moving stuff, selling stuff, changing
oh my
stuff.
God, at
Man.
least.
It was a lot.
Dude, we could have clipped all those together and just made that just like somebody's background video to have it with some music.
Yep.
Just have him just moving stuff.
Lo-fi inventory management to
Oh, there's got to be at least a good
relax
combined like 3 hours worth of that.
That's hilarious.
Oh, Power Dragon?
Well, there was dragons in the beginning and in the end, and one person rode one in the middle. So the big thing I would change about Baldur's Gate is more dragons, because we just didn't have dragons. We got shown them and we didn't really interact with them.
Yeah.
So my mod would be a way to just up the number of dragons like 3 times as much, and we just call it Power Dragons.
That's right.
We just increase the power of the dragons.
Yep. Very nice. Very nice. Now look, while I did love our BG3 adventure, the biggest thing to me that would make it even better would be opportunities to be weird or funny or wild or, dare I say, bad. Ooh. I loved the species and class specific text responses, so I would just make more of those, and my mod would of course be called Dare to Be Stupid.
Nice.
Fair.
Let's make it silly. Let's make it absolutely ridiculous.
It's a role-playing game, and the role I want to play is the world's dumbest person.
The town idiot.
Right. For what I sort of think back, I'm like, the funniest thing that happens when you bust in that barn and two characters are doing it.
Yeah.
And it's a whole thing. That was hilarious and great. And I wish there
But
was
I wanted more silly things,
like
like just randomly talking to the cows to get clues and you know.
that was pretty hot. Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right. That said, that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things magic. Thank you, Power Dragon.
Hey, as always, good to be here, and we're gonna have a good time this weekend doing some standard with Edge of Eternities.
Woo-hoo. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming out and joining, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, fantastic. Moving on here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, Mana Traders, my co-host, Power Dragon, and Ruben Bresser. Our viewers like you for watching or listening. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us on our exclusive member Discord. Subscribe to our Patreon. Watch us live on Twitch. Join us live or taped on our YouTube channel. Check out the TikTok. Follow us on the Blue Skies. Or join us here next week. Same time, same place for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.